everybody, and welcome to this special on Mercury transiting in Sagittarius. So this year Mercury transits in Sagittarius from the 4th of January at 7:36 a.m. and Mercury enters out of bounds while still in Sagittarius on the 9th of January at 7:08 a.m. and then on the 20th of January Mercury leaves out of bounds while still in Sagittarius until the 24th of January at 1:11 p.m. when Mercury enters Capricorn. So yeah, I'm Amani. I'm a karmic, holistic, astrological life coach, and I like to go in depth in all that I do, and all of my interpretations, especially when it comes to Venus, Mercury, Sun transits and everything really, are based on Vedic astrology, which is based on where the planets or the luminaries, which are the Sun and the Moon, are any given time in the sky. And all times are in GMT time as well. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah. So first I'm just going to do the snapshot version, 2 to 3 minutes, and then you could end it there. And then if you want the whole in-depth version where I break down every single aspect, like what it means for our relationships, friendship, committed relationships, hookups, the karma, and the deeper aspects that Mercury makes this year in Sagittarius and how they affect the whole period, then listen after the first 5 minutes. So yeah, so Mercury in Sagittarius, when it transits here, our communication can become expansive. We may think more outside of our comfort zone, our normal day-to-day banter, chatter, music. We may explore new music, explore different cultures, be open to different type of people than we're usually open to. It's like our brain has been suddenly given a wanderlust passport. We want to be more curious, seek out new things, as I said, and our thoughts can become like global travelers, and our conversations can just like get deeper, more meaningful. So our communication style gets a total makeover. We feel like, I don't know, just like random facts. You could just be in a conversation and then someone for years say something about themselves that blows you away, that you never really knew about, or it just may be a random fact like telling you how many stars there are in the galaxy or something like that. Everybody can be a bit more open, and we can just be shooting intellectual arrows into unexplored sort of places of knowledge, and we can just really want to get intellectual. So yeah, Mercury in Sagittarius is like an intellectual party mode. Each chat can become a mind-blowing experience. Our words can gain superpowers, philosophical discussions. We can want to explore different cultures, and it's a perfect time to challenge our thinking, our opinions, our values, what we have come to believe is true, and engage in like philosophical debates, or start developing that language learning app, or learning a new language. But negatively, it can sort of be like having a rocket powered brain with slightly dodgy brakes. Our thoughts can sort of like zoom everywhere, like it can be kind of awesome, but it can also lead us off course, if we're not careful. So we can just like sort of like be having a nice chilled vibe, and then it can just get passionate, and it can just turn into an unintentional debate when we're like, I'm right, you're wrong, and this can create confusion. So to balance this energy, it's best to, not to sort of like not engage in deep and meaningful, but to be more precise. So if you really want to use this energy for the best, listen as much as you speak, practice diplomatic phasing, so how you say things. A lot of the time in my life people have said it's not the what you say, it's how you say it. So, try and be as peaceful as you can, but, don't let others overstep your boundaries as well, protect your space. We may need to recognise that not everyone shares our rapid thought process, So it'd be people with a lot of 9th house energy in their charts, Neptune, Pisces, Jupiter, Sagittarius energy in aspects mostly that will feel this. So also 12th house aspects as well. So we have to try and be more curious, not thinking that we know everything, Try and be open to different opinions. Use big picture thinking rather than just focusing on the small details, but don't forget the small details as well. Be strategic and, try to seek understanding. Look for understanding, building bridges instead of like burning them, not just like, oh, well, I think this, I'm going to say it and I don't care if there's 20 other people in the room who may get offended by what I say right now. So, treat conversations as sort of like collaborative, as a teamwork sort of journey rather than just be, hey, look at me, I'm great and you're not sort of thing. So yeah, so that's the end of the short version of what to do when Mercury's in Sagittarius. Now I'm going to go into the deeper layers, okay? So if you want it deep, carry on. Okay, so now I'm going to talk deeper about the practical, financial, political, social, collective meaning of transiting Mercury in Sagittarius. So practically, we can just be sort of like behaving more like restless and sometimes reckless teenagers right now, especially, it can be like, there's a, curious teenager living in our brain. Our routine can feel suffocating. We may want to get more outside of our comfort zone, and every spontaneous idea seems irresistible right now, and our inner compasses can just be pointing towards us wanting more incitement. But sometimes this can come at the expense of stability in our routine. So, not picking the kids up on time. It's not funny, actually. Don't do that. Don't do that. But, not taking the trash out, forgetting date night because you just feel like, oh, I've had enough, So the best use of this energy is to turn insights into action. Be curious, be more open-minded. You may have a lot of ideas and it may not be practical for you to follow through on them all right now, but what's practical is for you to, do research. I don't know whether you want to do a new educational course, you may want to research deeper religious meanings or spiritual meanings or philosophy, sort out legal matters as well. Anything to do with writing and publishing as well is good on the practical level when Mercury's transiting in Sagittarius. Also using it to have those difficult conversations that we can pull off at times, because it can become a bit more tense, but I'll talk a bit more later on how it affects each of our relationships. So yeah. Okay, so the power moves that we can be making right now with our communication is allowing our thoughts to break free from our mental prisons. Wisdom can become our ultimate playground, so seeking out different perspectives than the ones you believe in. Thinking about the world on a global scale beyond our own personal needs, beyond the needs of our own friends and families and communities, taking on a global perspective to replace narrow-minded thinking, closed-mindedness. Allow ourselves to be more curious, and this can transform into radical understanding. Allow our sort of like mentality, our mindset to evolve, allowing ourselves to shatter limiting beliefs, allowing ourselves to balance philosophical dreaming with street smart wisdom, mixing the logic with the intuition, turning intellectual exploration into personal revolution, saying, I am not just going to believe what the media or my parents or my, other people have said I am or what to believe. I'm going to go out there and seek my own knowledge, but the landmines that can come up with this is that mental chaos can want to crash the party right now, getting too confused, getting loads of ideas. As I said earlier, it's better to write them down than to jump on them, especially if you may take on too much and just get all burned out with all the new information. Remember, to take your time. Everybody learns at different paces, and the only person you need to ever be in competition with in your life is the old you, to become better than what you are. Watch out for, philosophical, spiritual, other rabbit holes as well, and just watch out, as I said, for doing too much and scattering your energy, so remember, your mind is a powerful universe. It's important to make sure you look after the thoughts that you let live there. Questions are more important than answers, and uncertainty is the birthplace of magic. And remember that learning is a lifelong event, so it shouldn't just be a goal. As someone who really loves learning and new things and stuff, I can assure you, you don't always have to go down the traditional means of learning and having gone and got degree and learning on my own merit. The things I've gone and seek to learn on my own has been the more worthwhile. So remember that growth isn't a straight line. Wisdom lives beyond textbooks and social media and external voices. Vulnerability can create deeper understanding right now, and that our mindset, our thoughts, what we believe in, should always be evolving and not staying the same. And terms of mind magic power moves, what should you do? Remember that curiosity allows for space and for you to grow, and just practice radical mental flexibility right now and allow yourself to have those wild, deeper, conversations. So some questions you may want to practically ask yourself right now: what mental boundaries am I ready to dissolve? How can my thinking become a force for transformation? Am I consuming knowledge or genuinely understanding? You just sometimes just scroll through social media and we think we know everything because we got little snippets, but genuine understanding comes from deeper research, whether it be books, podcasts, longer social media videos in comparison to the 1 to 3 minutes ones and stuff like that. So remember that your mind is a cosmic portal, and travel light and to stay curious, and ask yourself, are you brave enough to allow yourself to think differently? So right now your cosmic mission is to blend intellectual adventure with soul level wisdom. Allow yourself to turn every conversation into a portal of possibility. So now I'm going to talk about the financial meanings of Mercury in Sagittarius. So positively, we can just be more open-minded in our financial thinking and money management. We can be more creative in our investment strategies. We can have more of a willingness to explore unconventional financial opportunities. We can have an increased ability to see big picture, sort of like economic trends, which can help you with investments or where to save in your monthly or yearly budget and stuff like that. So in terms of communication and how we can sort of generate or expand our side hustles or businesses, it's a good energy to network with others. We can be more persuasive in our communication skills and business negotiations, but on the flip side, others can be more persuasive with us. So make sure you check the small print, make sure that that you actually want to buy what you're buying right now, sell what you're selling, and do what you're doing, because this energy is really good for marketing and sales. And we can just be more convincing in the way we pitch our financial ideas. So maybe you're with a partner and you like to save more and they like to spend. This can be a good time to be like, hey, if we cut back here, we could potentially save enough to upgrade our car, our home, go on an extra holiday a year, something we may be able to afford to go back to college, university. So this is a good energy to sort of educate yourself financially, consuming podcasts, reading books about how to improve your financial situation. It can make us more open to international business sort of prospects, so traveling maybe to different countries, see how they live, and maybe bringing it back to your country, and showing people the benefits of this, new product or whatever. It's great for learning new skills and being curious about economic, sort of like situations, but negatively we can be over optimistic in our financial projections right now and just make impulsive spending, too much buying subscription services online and making other poor investment decisions. We can overlook critical financial details right now, and we can just sort of like take a more of a gambling approach to our finances right now, because the Sagittarius energy can just have us all over the place, and we can just speak before thoroughly analysing situations, and we can just have scattered communication in business meetings and stuff like that, and this can lead to us losing the interest of whoever we're pitching to or whatever. So the best use for this energy is to seek balanced financial advice, do practical research, have financial ideas, but make sure that, these ideas can be implemented practically into your day-to-day life, because that's what it's all about. This is why I do these in-depth holistic astrology readings, to show you how you can practically put these grand astrological concepts into your day-to-day life, because what's the use of knowledge and information if we're not applying it? We live in the age of information, everybody's got the answer, right? But the world is still a mess because we're not applying this knowledge into our daily life. So it wants us to maintain a disciplined approach to our investments and to sort of like develop more patience in our financial decision making. So ultimately, on the financial level, take financial courses, do research, explore different opportunities than the ones that may be available in your own country right now. Practice mindful communication and balance enthusiasm with strategic planning as well. So on the karmic level, financially, it wants us to expand our financial consciousness, challenge old money beliefs and open ourselves to new possibilities, remembering that the universe is pushing you towards a more abundant mindset. And remember that true wealth comes from wisdom, not just wishful thinking. And that's what this practical energy of Mercury in Sagittarius is all about. Because Mercury, Gemini energy can have all the ideas and all the rest of it as well, and Gemini's a mutable air sign, Sagittarius is the mutable sort of like fire sign, so this gives the fire to Gemini's ideas, so to speak. Spiritually, it wants us to align our spiritual goals with a higher purpose. We can ask ourselves, how can my financial choices support my soul's growth? What abundance can I create that serves not just myself, but it's also for the greater good as well? And really, to work with this energy, try keeping a financial journal at this time to track your financial insights and spending, and also the wide ideas about your sort of like finances that come in your intuitive gut feelings right now as well. Could lead you to some really sort of like money making ideas that can be good for you in the long term if you're willing to work towards bringing this brilliant money making idea into reality with daily action and research. So now I'm going to talk about how Mercury in Sagittarius affects the political sort of like world. So, we can sort of like have a communication revolution. Communication wars can break down, creating global conversations that can actually bring change. And, fighting countries can sort of like connect right now, and we can sort of like see radical culture shifts and understanding between different sort of like ideologies, and political talk can turn from boring to brilliant right now. We can see sort of like traditional thinking patterns in politics, in governments being sort of like challenged right now, and the underdog, people who don't normally have a voice can get to speak right now, and sort of like policies that could actually change and reshape society for the better can be made right now. And we can sort of like see connections between things that others can't imagine, and it can push us outside of our political sort of like comfort zone as well. But this can be good, but we just have to also watch out for the negatives, which can be we can just be talking and following leaders that are just doing yappity and, epic talks, long hours of talks, but nothing changes. And we can just get lost in, wordy, long-winded sort of labyrinths, and they're not really saying anything new. They're just going around in circles. And this can happen in our political conversations with our family members and stuff as well. And we can sort of like mistake our own sort of like opinions right now for like a universal truth, and everyone should believe what I believe, and others can do that, and this can add to tensions in social situations as well, and on the wider national and international political sort of like level as well. So in terms of politically, we need to listen more than we speak when we're talking to others about our political views, and embrace different opinions that challenge us, and allow ourselves to see political conversations as growth opportunities right now. And remember that every conversation is a chance to heal global divisions, and that's what we all say. We want more peace in the world, but until when we become more peaceful as individuals and in our family, in our communities, the world ain't going to change. So yeah, Mercury in Sagittarius is a big call for us to be the change we want to see in our world, and allow ourselves to step outside of our political comfort zone and truly hear someone different, be open to different opinions. So this is a chance for our political consciousness to level up, and the only question is that you need to answer is, are you ready to do that? Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the social collective meanings, how it's going to affect us in our day-to-day life. The whole 3 to 4 weeks Mercury is in Sagittarius. So it's all about breaking down communication barriers. When Mercury slides into Sagittarius, our conversations can have an upgrade, as I said, and it can be sort of like a worldwide coffee shop where everyone's suddenly more curious, open-minded, and ready to share their stories, and this can allow us to break down walls between cultures faster than we can, scroll through social media, as people can become more hungry, more open to understand each other, and it's like everyone can be speaking a language of curiosity and respect. So this is good to bring about, genuine change in our relationship as well. And social media and other media in our social lives relationships can become less about drama and more about genuine connection. Classrooms can transform into global learning hubs. Conversations can feel more like adventures than arguments right now. So yeah, people can crave more understanding over being right as well. Cultural differences, people's different expression in how they do their hair and talk and stuff can become more fascinating and not threatening, because a lot of the time when we get angry about other people, it's because we're scared. We think that someone else being them is going to take away from us being ourselves and our way of life, So this energy wants us to be open-minded about the other, about differences, and allow our intellectual boundaries to blur and become more open-minded. But negatively, we can just feel kind of like overloaded with information right now, like our brain is running too many apps, just like too much MB memory, GB even getting used, as passionate discussions can lead to heated exchanges, and this can lead to people falling out and people forgetting to listen, just wanting to talk, So this energy on the deeper level is wanting us to be more connected, seeing each conversation as a chance for you to grow on the psychological, emotional and spiritual levels, and to see the world through someone else's eyes, So the action plan in terms of, the social collective meaning is to create safe spaces for healthy communication, start, conversation circles on and offline that are respectful to other people's differences, be the person who listens more than you speak right now, allow yourself to, seek out diverse voices on and offline, take a class about a culture, or try and research a different culture, different from yours, even if it's just going on the wiki page, it's better than nothing. And, practice asking questions instead of making statements as well. And, remember that every conversation is a bridge, and, where will your bridge lead you? Into understanding or into oversetting your opinions, and then, you can get lost in debates and miss from the connection that could be beautiful, turning it horrible because you're not willing to be open-minded, or someone's not willing to be open-minded with you, So now I'm going to talk about the psychological meanings of transiting Mercury in Sagittarius. So it allows us to unlock our mind's potential, especially in the way that our minds want, things that are outside of our comfort zones, but sometimes we can get scared. So psychologically, it allows us to expand our consciousness and break through mental limitations. It allows us to channel higher wisdom, encourages us to be more spiritually curious and to explore and to have communication breakthroughs and connect with our universal truths, and allows us to have more intuitive communication and build a bridge between different spiritual beliefs and perspectives. Just awaken us from inside to let go of our thinking that, has been born out of unresolved psychological, emotional and spiritual trauma, past heartbreaks, past setbacks, betrayal, stuff like that, and to awaken to more spiritual growth and freedom. It's good for seeking out tools that can help you, like meditation. And remember, meditation, it's a progress, and it a lot of the time people say, but I can't turn off my mind. That's not the point. I say meditation is all about bringing your attention to how many crazy thoughts can live in your mind, write them down, and not to beat yourself up when you can't still the mind, but to just gently always try to introduce positive thoughts, not just in meditation, you got to do it holistically. So meditation alone is not going to get rid of your toxic thoughts, but, taking time out to understand your past heartbreaks and setbacks, and the things that you find it hard to forgive yourself and others for, really reflecting on them, holistically seeking out psychological tools, spiritual tools, maybe philosophical tools, and all the tools to help you manage. It's not one tool fits all. One technique, CBT, may work for one person, but another person may need DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, and not cognitive behavior therapy. Some people may need a mixture of the two. Some people may need DBT, CBT and something else. It's all about finding your own spiritual kind of toolkit and rescue bots that can help you sort of like see beyond surface level reality and to make peace with yourself day to day. And remember, it's not an overnight journey. I say, it depends. If you've never done any work on your trauma, or you've been in and out, and you say 30, it could take it anywhere from like 4 to 10 years to get to a point where you can be more still in your mind. Sometimes we're unrealistic. We watch these videos online and people make out like, meditation solves everything. Well, no, it don't. A holistic healing plan will help you manage yourself, and some things you will heal, but a lot of the time it's all about managing ourselves rather than getting rid of everything. And we can get deflated when we are sold the dream of peace, when it's not really about that. Sometimes we have to learn to live with the darkness and to bring sunshine. When we are depressed, we are allowed to be depressed, but one thing I found on my journey, that there can also be a deep peace in that as well, and happiness can be found even when we are going through anxiety. But these things take time, so it's not about beating yourself up about it as well. So it allows us to understand complex spiritual concepts with more crystal clear clarity, and make deep connections between the different belief systems, the different healing tools, mindfulness meditation versus mantra meditation. Sometimes you may need mindfulness, sometimes you may need mantra meditation, sometimes you may need Vaspana, just focusing on your breath and stuff like that. There's different techniques, and some of them will work some days and some of them may not work other days. So we can just feel a sense of, cosmic cosmic unity and more interconnectedness. But spiritually, we can be sort of like a risk of spiritual bypassing, like, oh wow, I don't need to do the inner work, I don't need to solve my generational trauma because, I've got this crystal, look at my tarot cards, sort of thing. And, spiritual bypassing, I would research it if you don't know it, because it's a big thing in the healing world, whether you're, doing psychological techniques or spiritual techniques. Sometimes we can learn the technique to make us avoid the pain, but the true healing comes when we face our shadow and learn to manage our shadow, and allow ourselves to experience our emotions rather than just collecting loads of information and being over intellectual or philosophical about things now. And this can lead to spiritual arrogance and psychological sort of like avoidance as well. And we have to be cautious about getting lost in abstract theories, just collecting the information and not putting it into practice, and watch out for feeling because we may have, more knowledge in spirituality or religion or anything else that we're more superior than other people, because this is not the case. We're all at different soul evolutions and we're all here to learn different things and be different things, and don't mistake intellectual understanding for true wisdom. The true wisdom comes from practical sort of application of, the things that you learn, the information, right? So we allow ourselves to ground our insights through action, allow ourselves to practice being humble and curious, balancing our intellectual understanding with heart-centered awareness, staying open to different perspectives, allowing ourselves to meditate, to journal, to research different spiritual traditions and practices, being more compassionate in our listening, and to expand our spiritual awareness, question without judgment, and be open to the mystery of, the existence of humanity and your own existence, and allow yourself to connect with universal consciousness, while you stay open to wisdom from all sources, staying humble in your understanding, and remember that true wisdom comes from practice and experience, not just knowledge and information, right? So now I'm going to talk about the deeper hidden esoteric, occult meanings of transit Mercury in Sagittarius. So it allows us to unlock stagnant, dormant psychic channels. It activates like multi-dimensional perceptions, different beliefs, it can reveal hidden energetic networks. Now, depending on, what you're working at, the most important thing is to never do anything that you don't have the knowledge of, and this is how we can open ourselves to like more anxiety and stuff when we try to rush ahead with the information rather than step by step seeking information and implementing it into our day-to-day life. It can help us see the different veils between dimensions, different realms of existence. Someone who always looks on, although we live in the same world, right? Someone who always looks at things from a negative perspective, everything's bad, everything needs to be avoided, will have a different life to someone who's more sort of like happy in their thinking, more sort of like chilled out, so this can make us more telepathic and help us decode the symbolic language of ourselves and the universe. It can, for some of you, allow you to, activate the Akashic records or, deeper meanings, because, this Akashic records means different things, different terminology. What it really means is just having access to information in real time, and we do this by moving from the voices of anxiety, depression, and fear. And as I said, you don't need to get rid of all these traits. Nature is an ebb and flow. We're going to sometimes be happy, we're going to sometimes be high and low. This is natural. Of course, some of us, when we've got the deeper psychological illnesses, have different extremes and stuff. So we all have to kind of like work out our own individual cheat code by learning to manage all aspects of our needs, and letting ourselves have the time to heal as well. So it can just help us sort of like open up to our sort of like kundalini, which is just our energy, our spiritual energy, the energy beyond the logic realm. That's all that is, and we can just kind of like have past life memory downloads as well, dreams and stuff like that. Again, what Then what will happen for you depends on your level of spiritual awareness, in seeking and practice. But ultimately, it allows for breakthroughs in our collective consciousness, allows us to understand complex metaphysical patterns, and it allows us to sort of like recollaborate our individual needs and our collective needs, but negatively, we can feel psychically overwhelmed right now and fragmented in our consciousness. I said earlier, be careful about the ideas, and you should only really delve into things that we can be sort of like open to misleading people as well, because Mercury in Sagittarius wants us to seek out different new ideas, and we can fall into, cultist thinking or, discriminative thinking and stuff, so we just need to watch out and sort of like avoid ungrounded psychic exploration and protect our energetic boundaries and be kind of discerning spiritually to prevent sort of like ego-driven metaphysical inflation, sort of like, us being like, wow, my tarot cards are better than your tarot cards and all of that, so yeah. So on the symbolic and creative levels, it's like a spiritual paintbrush that transforms how we see and express the world, and our creativity can, become suddenly sort of like supercharged. Our creative boundaries can become more liquid and open. Our imagination can break through invisible walls. Stories can want to tell themselves through us right now, as if we're channeling universal stories, and it can be like a sort of like portal to collective dreams. So for some of you, symbols can start to speak to you. Archetypes can dance through your imagination, such as the archetype of the hero in that journey who breaks away from conformity and following what everyone else tells them to follow in terms of social media, how they should look in appearance, how they should think, and sort of like it allows us to explore our emotions and creativity, drawing, and any form of artistic expression can become a bridge between worlds right now. Creatively, we can make connections between different ideas, and metaphors can feel like living things and beings right now, but we need to watch out on the negative end to not get lost in abstract ideas and wonderlands, to separate the fantasy from reality, right? And to balance cosmic inspiration, so meditation and chilling out and tapping into different dimensions with practical expression, being tangible. So you can think about a picture or writing a poem, but make sure you get things down. Don't go into creative ego trips. There is art that you create for yourself, but if you rely on other people following your work to help you build your sort of like whatever you do in your podcast, your channel and stuff, you have to sort of like tailor your sort of like needs to your audience. So finding the balance, follow your passion, only do the things you want to do, but make sure you do it in a way that engages people as well. So creatively, we need to ground our world ideas with practical expression, stay connected to our audience and our vision as well. And daily we could do a stream of consciousness writing, or do a drawing if you're an artist, draw without judging it, just letting yourself create the art, because sometimes when you do think creatively you can overthink things and the art never gets made, but you just go round and round in thoughts, so your mantra can be, I am a channel for stories waiting to be told. So a lot of creatives say they get themselves into that flow state, right, that lucid state, which just allows things to come out. And when it comes to creation and editing of your creation, remember these are two different processes. I had to learn this. We must create and then just let it flow, and then visit it the next day, give at least I would say a day or two between the creation and the editing of your creations, right? And this is how you build up your work, and this is how you can feel more comfortable, because a lot of the time, as I said, I used to get lost in thinking it's all one thing, but the creative process should be broke down into lots of different steps, right? So allow yourself to be open to healing through creative expression, and and allow, art and creativity to expand your collectiveness by allowing yourself to let go of your emotions, work through your emotions by creating sort of like creative. So, keep one foot on the ground and one foot in your creativity, and magic happens when we find that balance, right? So yeah. So emotionally, it's like an emotional GPS that helps us navigate our inner world with a sort of like newfound freedom right now. Our psychological walls can crumble. Our hidden emotional patterns can become visible right now. Our heart can begin to speak some truth if we're open to it, and we can sort of like, have a sort of like emotional reset if we're willing to write down our thoughts, write down the ways we need to be healed and be open to the process. We can be more radically honest with ourselves right now, allowing our heart to speak its truth, and we can just have more compassion for ourselves and others, and the courage right now to feel things deeply, to connect with our emotional world and allow our vulnerability to become strength, and allow our authenticity to replace surface sort of like connections, and our emotional intelligence can really grow right now. But negatively, we can drown in emotional intensity right now, and we need to avoid using spirituality or any other thing right now to escape our feelings. We're using creativity, remember, and psychological exploration and personal development to understand our feelings and create healthy boundaries, not to escape them. So we can just allow ourselves to sort of like check in with ourselves on a day-to-day basis, track our emotions, write them down or voice record them or video record them to yourself and others, have more compassionate self-reflections, self-talks, and allow yourself to release old emotional patterns. And just remember that our emotions are sacred messengers. They're not enemies to be conquered. A lot of the time our emotions are telling us that something's not right, or something is right, do more of that, or something's not right, let go of that, So allowing ourselves to transform our pain into power, and allowing ourselves to become our most authentic self by embracing ourselves as we journey towards there, and learning to accept the self that we are on our journey to become the self we want to be, and on a sort of like emotional growth level. This is our higher consciousness, our soul's invitation for us to love ourselves unconditionally, to speak our emotional truths, and to dance with our inner complexity, and to trust our heart's wisdom. And remember, emotional healing is not about perfection, but about radical self-acceptance and continuous growth. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the aspects that Mercury makes this year as it enters Sagittarius. So we've got Mercury making a quincunx to Uranus, and this is at a 0.38 degrees separating, so just under 1 degree really. So this allows us to have, sudden creative ideas, and allows us to think outside of the box and coming up with, innovative solutions. But it adds to the mental restlessness and scattered thoughts, and we can struggle to focus, or we can just feel overwhelmed by too many ideas at once. The best use of this energy is to brainstorm, be creative, and write down any ideas that come to your mind, as I said, even if they seem unusual at first. So this is, really supporting that creativity. Mercury makes a square to Neptune, and this helps us with our imagination and intuition, and allows us to get in tune with those subtle, Sagittarius, expansive, open-mindedness energies. And we can sort of like, another one that supports us to be creative, but negatively this can add to the misunderstandings and confusion in communication, and we can just find it hard to express ourselves clearly and struggle to separate fact from fiction. But it's a good energy to, be artistic, to meditate, but we just need to watch out for, we have to just check the facts, especially with important communications, and think before we make decisions, Mercury also makes a trine to Chiron at 5.11 degrees, and it allows us to be more sensitive, especially when we're talking about painful issues and experiences, and we can just have more empathy and wisdom while navigating these difficult conversations, and we can find it easier to understand and express our own emotional wounds and work with others' psychological and spiritual and emotional pain right now. But negatively, because it brings up insecurities related to communication and learning, people can trigger us right now, or our own inability. We can feel like, oh, I want to research. A lot of the time, the reason why we don't get outside of our comfort zone, especially when it comes to academic learning or learning new skills that could get us a new career or even trying, we think, oh, well, I'm 50 now, I could never do this, or people like me don't do this and that, or, so the best use of this energy is to heal any, pain you got over your ability to learn and communicate as well. And also, it's a good energy for self-reflection, personal development, therapy, and having healing conversations with yourself and others about personal experiences. Mercury's conjunction to the ascendant right now, again, allows us to be more talkative and curious about our surroundings and different sort of like countries and things. Allows us to express ourselves, so this is really good. But negatively, we can be too nervous and chatty right now, and this can get in the way of like those business presentations, or building a new romantic relationship. So the best use of this energy is to engage in social activities, but make sure you find that balance between speaking and listening, and accommodating others' needs as well. Not getting rid of your own personality and boundaries, but working with others' boundaries as well. Mercury sextile to the midheaven allows us to think about our career goals, add to our career skills and our public image. Right now we can have good ideas about our life direction, and we can communicate more effectively with authority figures and just with other people in our careers or networking and stuff like that. The best use of this energy is to update your CV, your skills, or your professional and social media profiles, and to have important conversations about your career and long-term goals. Now, Mercury makes a biquintile to Mars, and this is under 1 degree applying. So again, it gives us a big boost of assertiveness. We can find it easier to defend our ideas and take the mental initiative, but negatively we can become too argumentative or impatient in conversations. So we should use this energy to tackle challenging mental tasks, and it's a good time for debates or competitive mental activities, So ultimately, these aspects allow us to be more self-aware and to balance, Mercury's in Sagittarius need of big ideas with, practically applying them to our lives and being more considerate in our communication. Also, at the time of Mercury going into Sagittarius, there's a yod. So a yod in astrology is the finger of God. So a transiting yod is also known as the finger of God in astrology, and this aspect is formed when two planets are sextile, so that's 60 degrees apart, and both of these planets make a quincunx, which is 150 degrees to a third planet. So two planets sextile, both of those planets make a quincunx to another third planet, or planets if that third planet is conjunct to another planet. So this creates a narrow egg-elongated triangle shape in the transiting chart, and a transiting yod can increase our awareness of our purpose or calling. It can give us opportunities for growth and transformation, and it's a potent energy that really allows us to break free from old patterns that no longer serve you, and or habits, so it can act as a cosmic push towards self-discovery and personal development, and this can lead to a deeper understanding of your true path in life. It can bring about unexpected blessings or connections that push you towards your goals. but negatively, it can sometimes be overwhelming energy, and confusing to understand all the push and pulls, because, the quinquats is a struggle, so you push and pull. You've got two planets that are like, yeah, we love each other, and then they make these quinquats to the third planet and they're not loving each other as much anymore, so it requires us to confront deep-seated fears and insecurities, and it can be challenging and emotionally draining. It can also, as I said, be confusing, leading to uncertainty and doubt about our choices and which direction should we go, and all of that as well. And also, the challenges triggered by a transiting yod can disrupt our existing routines and our relationships, and it can just cause internal turbulence and changes. And it's essential to approach this energy with an open mind and a willingness to embrace change as resisting transformation, whatever it is that comes up, at the time of a transiting yod, whatever comes to your attention. You may be like, oh no, I don't want to change, but resisting the change can just lead to extended feelings of discomfort and stagnation, just staying in the same old routine. So the yod's like, okay, I know this thing has been comforting, or these things, and maybe you needed these things at one stage in your life, but now it's time to let go and move on to something new. So the yod between Uranus in Aries, the midheaven in Libra, Mercury in Sagittarius. So Mercury in this yod allows us to have a flash of intuition, and those aha, I get it moments, like, duh, how did I not remember that, and connect the dots. The midheaven in the yod can bring sudden changes or opportunities related to our career, so this is really good, allowing us to be open to new ideas. In terms of the balancing act we need to sort of like find that balance between our need for individual expression and our, the needs of our careers right now, and paying our rent and not overspending and not, missing date nights because we want to buy those new earrings or shoes, or, just being kind of inconsiderate. It wants us to find that balance between doing what we need to feel uplifted right now, which is represented by Uranus in Aries, and, what we want to do in terms of our career, which is represented by the midheaven in Libra, and our need to communicate our ideas and being open to others' ideas, which is represented by Mercury in Sagittarius. So it wants us to express ourselves in new ways, and this can allow us to have brilliant breakthroughs, but we may get overwhelmed with this need to kind of like be open right now. It wants us to sort of like be open to spiritual concepts and being philosophical, but we just need to watch out, because it adds to the restlessness and impatientness as well. To make the most of this yod energy, we have to be open to unconventional ideas, but try to express them in ways that others can understand and appreciate. We can use our increased intuition right now to guide our career decisions and our public communications and other things that we need to sort of like decide on right now. We need to find a balance between our need for individual expression and our professional responsibilities. And we can start that blog, that channel, that podcast, or any other thing that we've been putting off, and share our unique insights with other people. And we can say, it's saturated. Well, right now what's happening is people are wanting more niche sort of like specialized things. We're seeing past the illusions of influencers and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is that your community is out there, so go for it. Allow yourself to be mindful, and practice meditation and mindfulness, and this can help you sort of like manage mental restlessness and you feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the karma of Mercury in Sagittarius. So in terms of the karmic lesson, it wants us to move beyond our limitations of our current beliefs and be open to a more open-minded mindset, and understanding of the world. And it wants us to, as I said, explore different cultures, belief systems and spiritual religious practices, to speak our truth, to be honest and direct in our communication. The karmic challenge is learning to express our truth without fear, while also being mindful of how our words impact others. It's about finding the balance between being honest and diplomatic. Number 3, it wants us to sort of like learn from traveling, being open to different environments and learning to trust our journey, even when the destination isn't clear, because sometimes we don't start to learn new things or do the things we really want to do. Visit a different country, talk to a different person from a different country, trust in the newness of life, because we keep on sometimes repeating our past. So this is why we think our past is the thing that it can only ever be. A lot of the time, if we pick toxic lovers, we continue to pick toxic lovers, and this is why we can come to believe that there's no love, and love means heartbreaks and everyone's a liar and stuff, because we lie to ourselves and stuff. So this wants us to get real about who we are and our involvement in the things in our life. And of course, this is not to victim blame or shame or anything like that, but also wants us to take accountability and responsibility for our lives. But we also have to watch out for being arrogant, especially in our belief systems and our intellectual expression and communication. We can be a bit preachy and overconfident in our opinions and be like, I'm right, you're wrong, or you must do it this way and this is the only way to do it. So the karmic lesson here is about being humble, being, having humility and recognizing that there's more than one way to do things. There's always something to learn in life, and believe me, there always is. Never think you know it all. This is the surefire way to disappointment and illusion, Okay, in terms of the past life memories and dreams that can come up, we could just dream of being like a teacher, a philosopher, a religious leader, or maybe like someone who traveled for business, or a merchant, or someone who may have studied or taught in a foreign land, or being part of a diverse community. Maybe you was explorer, dreams of discovering new lands or ideas, or memories of being sort of like rejected for your different beliefs, and having to live in a way that you had to hide the true thoughts and beliefs, because we must never forget, for a lot of time in human history, there wasn't freedom of speech, So although these dreams and memories may not be clear, you can sort of like have like a deja vu feeling, or some of you will have more vivid dreams when you sort of like just feel sort of like I'm meant to remember something here, and something from your dream can just push you to research in real life, So in terms of the collective karma of Mercury in Sagittarius, we may see an increase in discussions about the spread of false information and the collective responsibility to seek truth beyond, those 1 minute or 10 seconds bites of information that we all become accustomed to by scrolling through social media and stuff. It wants us to sort of like think about culture exchange and understandings, instead of saying, well, your way of life is wrong and my way of life is right. Instead of being like, my country's good, your country's bad, focus on how we can, build bridges and respect different opinions and different cultures. So in terms of our collective karma about the way we educate our children, how we educate ourselves throughout our lifespans, debates on the purpose and methods, or the techniques, how we teach, especially how we teach about different cultures and belief systems other than our own in our nations and stuff like that. Issues around censorship and freedom of speech and expression may come up, and about having the right to express unpopular opinions, and this is a big debate ongoing now. There's a lot of things that people feel like they cannot say, and the consequences of our words and our actions can become sort of like hot kind of issues right now. In terms of global connections, we can sort of like see more of an emphasis, karma on collectively, and how we run away from becoming more interconnected as a world, or on how we're becoming too overconnected, because every pro has a con, right? And interconnectedness, globalization has its benefits, as in we can all get to different places quicker. We got aeroplanes and we can order online, but the downside to that is people in different nations not having fair pay, wages and stuff, because everything's being outsourced, right? So there's not enough jobs in certain countries, and even in the countries now where we've been buying in loads of external products, we haven't been focusing on our own manufacturing techniques and stuff, and it's just causing issues. So yeah, that's how Mercury in Sagittarius can affect us as a collective on the karmic level. So now I'm just going to talk more about how Mercury in Sagittarius affects us in terms of our relationships. So in terms of our family relationships, our family conversations can become sudden portals of spaces of healing and understanding. We can become less rigid, less like, this is our family tradition, you must stick to this sort of thing. We can be more compassionate about our differences in our conversations and exchanges. Invisible walls can start to crumble in our families. Unspoken stories can find their voices, and wisdom from our ancestors. We may go through family photos or talk about relatives that have passed on, who have died, and thinking about family traditions in an uplifting way, being more open to resolving family conflict as well. It can be sort of like, if you think of a family as an intricate energy network, this energy allows us to sort of like have a spiritual software update in our families, allowing us to rewire old communication patterns by being radically honest, and this can help us heal intergenerational wounds and create new relationship blueprints, new ways of doing things. Vulnerability can become strength. We can replace judgment with understanding, and spiritual connections can deepen in our families. But negatively, we should sort of avoid philosophical arguments, because sometimes doing things in a philosophical way instead of focusing on the facts can just bring more tension. We have to make sure we create emotional boundaries and that we listen more than what we speak, and we need to practice compassionate listening, share without expectation, and honor our individual needs and journeys in our families, and just allow ourselves to create an emotional safe space. We could do meditation, or share stories with our family, work on our emotional intelligence, or attend emotional intelligent workshops as a family, or just anything else. Not everyone's family is into all the spiritual stuff, so anything else that you and your family can do, playing a game, watching a show, going out for a meal, that can just help you bring that sense of togetherness back into your family, and it sort of like whispers into our souls that our families can be a sacred space. Not all families, a lot of them are toxic, can be toxic, or they're toxic the way they are now, because we can just all go into ego and think our ways are the best ways, and this can isolate us from each other rather than bringing us together. So our family mantra right now can be, we heal together, we grow together, and just allowing ourselves to let go of family grudges, breaking generational patterns of unforgiveness, choosing love and understanding over tradition, and being right, and allowing ourselves to be more conscious in our family connections as well, and developing mutual understanding and respect. So it just invites us to communicate from the heart, release old emotional baggage, be open to people being different individuals in our relationships, and this can create a new relationship paradigm, meaning how we communicate to each other can change. And we just have to remember also that family is not just about blood connection, it's about soul connections and mutual growth and being healthy. So in terms of friendships, it allows us to have more meaningful relationships. Conversations can become sort of like portals of growth and understanding. Our social circles, we can make new friends, and they can, expand our worldview and our life, make us happy. Our connections can really grow right now. If we sort of like think of our friendships right now as a living breathing sort of like energy system, and it's kind of like this transit brings like a spiritual Wi-Fi upgrade to our friendships right now, allowing for, you know, us to be radically honest with each other, share our adventures, talk about our emotional pain. So it's good for heart to heart, working through listening to stories about our emotional, psychological and spiritual trauma and pain, or, you know, progress as well. We can be more vulnerable in our friendships as well, and this is really good. And we can just be more curious about them, and mutual growth and understanding can be the starting point, you know, the foundation for our friendships to continue or end, because this energy can make, you know, some friendship ends as well, because we may just realise we don't have anything in common, or, you know, acquaintance, someone who you knew casually or in a hookup way could become a deeper friend right now. But we just need to watch out for ego battles, thinking our way is the right way, make sure we create emotional boundaries and stick to other people's emotional boundaries, and ask questions rather than assume, you know, listen more than you lecture right now, be more compassionate, be open for different sort of like opinions and for your friends to want to try new things, because a lot of the time we're like, oh, we're friends because we like the same music, but then if someone likes something different, this can cause tension, you know. So, you know, be open to maybe sort of like, you know, just challenging your friendship and becoming more inspiring in your friendship, and exploring maybe deeper spiritual other tools together. And group learning can do really well right now, you know, things like creating a vulnerability circle with friends, you know, where you give each other time and space. You may say every Monday at once a month we can talk about our feelings, you know, making your friendships more deeper. And it reminds us to release limiting social patterns, limiting ways we disrespect our friends, undermine our friends, you know, bully our friends. For some of you, it allows us to see our friends as spiritual companions, allies, people that can help us with our spiritual growth. Or for some of you, you may have to let some friends go to continue your you know, spiritual growth. It can sort of like allow us to, you know, have real talk and to be conscious explorers of, you know, creating supportive sort of like safe spaces in our friendship groups, you know. And friendships should be more like cosmic teamwork collaborations, you know, that are designed to help ourselves and our friends evolve. There shouldn't be prisons that keep us in a inauthentic expression of self, you know. So, you know, some of you may rethink if your friendships, your current friendships, are not doing that. Some of you may let them go. Okay, so in terms of co-worker relationships, it brings communication sort of like vibes, you know. Our conversations at work can become more sort of like open and honest and electric. We can just be more open to having brainstorming sessions, being more innovative in our friendships, being more open to adventure and curious, you know, about life and our work in general. And working with others can become more intentional and smoother, more exciting. We can break down departmental sort of like rules, like, you know, well, I'm from accounting and you're from marketing, we can't talk, you know. We can be more out of the box in our thinking and just embracing each other's wild ideas in the workplace right now. You know, we can just sort of like have more of a spontaneous sharing of our knowledge and ideas between departments, but negatively we can experience communication chaos, you know. We can have a risk of over promising during meetings, and the tendency to go off on philosophical tangents, you know, just randomly adding facts, like I mentioned earlier in the intro, that are not necessarily or relevant to the current conversation, and information can get scattered and unfocused, and meetings can take more time, and this can interfere with deadlines, you know. And we can just have unrealistic expectations and project pictures that, yeah, this is a good idea, but, you know, a week later or even an hour later, like, oh my gosh, why did we spend like the past like 2 hours talking about this idea? It's not good. But then it's good as well to, you know, have those debates, because you may come up with like good ideas that can push the company and your work forward, but there can be friction as well, because some people may feel overwhelmed by constant big ideas and egos can clash, and there can be a risk of the missing practical details or the practicalities of these wide ideas. Yes, you may think, we may want to only work 4 hours a day, but this could reduce productivity and customer service. So making sure that the ideas we come up with are practical, and just watch out for conversations becoming passive aggressive and debate and warlike verbally rather than teamwork. So we have to sort of like balance being enthusiastic with practical action, practice active listening, ground big ideas with concrete plans and steps and strategies, and appreciate different communication styles as well. In terms of committed relationships and hookup relationships, positively in terms of committed relationships, it allows for deeper conversations, exploring new ideas together that can, deepen your intellectual or spiritual connection between lovers. You can feel more inspired to plan trips and try new experiences together, bringing excitement into relationships by doing different things on date nights. You can be more honest with each other, and this can kind of like lead to greater trust between partners. We can have more of an optimistic outlook, which kind of can help couples approach challenges with more of a positive mindset. You can learn together, finding happiness in doing things together, whether it be an online or offline course, and exploring new subjects. So researching can be sexy right now for couples to do together, but negatively there can be kind of tactlessness in conversations. People can be too honest and too blunt, and this can lead to hurting feelings. We can become restlessness, and one partner may want more openness and independence and new experiences, while the other one may want to stay in the comfort zone, and this can add to tension. We can overpromise things to our lovers because the enthusiasm of this energy can just make us be like, yes babe, I'll do it, and then we can find it hard to keep our commitments. We can sort of have different opinions on big life questions and stages. One of you may want to buy a house now, the other not so much, so we have to sort of like navigate these hard kind of contradictions. So just try and be as open and honest and accommodating to your partner's needs without, of course, overstepping your own boundaries, but knowing that when we commit to someone, it means that we're sort of giving up our own egos, a bit to, compromise is key, so yeah, in terms of hookup relationships, we can be more spontaneous, we can find it easier to express our desires and boundaries more clearly. There can be an increased interest in connecting with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, countries to you. We can be more like kind of like fun focused in our hookups as well, and they can just be more playful and enjoyable. But negatively, we can overshare because this energy wants us to be more open-minded, and we can be more honest. We can reveal things, too much personal information too quickly, and this can lead to misunderstanding of connection because we've told someone these things and put too much in them, and this can overwhelm them or us in the long run. So we just need to be gentle with ourselves. We have to make sure that we don't think that someone wants commitment when they just want to hook up, even though this energy can make us feel more optimistic and forward thinking right now. It's best to sort of like be honest in what you intend. Don't promise someone commitment if you're not willing to give it to them, because this energy can make us fear commitment, and it can make it harder for some people to consider moving behind the casual hookup label, so watch out for that as well. In terms of maybe you want to wait until when this transit passes to make a solid decision. Try not to make impulsive decisions because we can get, caught up in the moment and the physical intimacy. Oh, this feels so good sort of thing, what I'm talking about. So we have to make sure that we consider the full consequences of our actions right now to make the most of this energy. Practice being mindful with our communication. balance honesty with tact, enjoy the adventurous energy, set clear boundaries, and stay grounded, and remember to follow through in your commitments, and remember to be respectful, and to gain consent right now in all types of relationship dynamics for them to sort of be good right now. We also have to make sure, as I said, that we stay grounded. It's good to think big, but remember that we have to make sure we have to think about the long-term implications, consequences of our decisions right now, and make sure we can follow through in them commitments, right? So in terms of those who are single and self-partnered right now, it allows us to be brutally honest about our condition, what we really want. We can really explore our inner world, and we can be more confident right now, and we can just feel more romantic with ourselves and others as well. We can sort of break through communication barriers with ourselves, especially it's good for inner child work and in nurturing ourselves and embracing your most authentic self, and giving yourself the space to explore yourself and to question who you think you have become, because a lot of the time we can have a vision of ourselves that's not completely true. So it's really good for inner work and allowing yourself to go out in dates, and this can turn into personal growth, because you can see areas where you have grown, and these dates may make you open to areas within yourself where you need to grow. It allows us to have those real talk moments with ourselves, but we have to watch out for FOMO. If you are single, you may be like, oh no, I need to couple up, without thinking about the consequences. Inner work is good, being single is good, finding love is good also, but going into the wrong relationship can really derail your progress right now. So don't mistake adventure for commitment right now, because sometimes we can just be having an experience, but we can label it as commitment, or get lost in the moment. So make sure you don't get lost in that wanderlust that Sagittarius is known for. We have to make sure that you stay grounded. So yeah, you have to stay grounded, and if you want to do some power self-love moves right now, date yourself like you are your own soulmate. Try experiences that make your heart dance. Be curious but not desperate. Remember, your worth isn't defined by your relationship status. Allow yourself to fall madly in love with your own journey, with your own self. This is a great energy to do that. Allow yourself to use the practical magic of writing about what you really, write about your wildest dreams. What do you really want from life right now? Write it down, and then make a plan to work towards it. You never know, it may come true. What have you got to lose? Allow yourself to go on spontaneous solo adventures. Practice radical self-acceptance, but stay open to and trust your intuition, and allow yourself to fall in love with yourself, and remember that the most important that each of us can develop in our life is the one that we have with ourselves, and everything else really are just bonus tracks that can help us on our epic life playlist. But we are the only ones that are with ourselves 24/7, so it's important to get to know ourselves on the deeper levels. So now I'm going to talk about how Mercury in Sagittarius affects our career, spiritual, educational and personal development on the deeper level. So in terms of our career development, it allows us to have more of visionary sort of ideas and long-term planning, and we can just see the broader picture, the broader scope, the longer journey of our career path and industry trends, and this can help us plan our careers more, seeing what skills we need to add, or we may change our career path. We can increase our communication skills, so good for enthusiastic communication and presentation, networking events, and pitching ideas to those in authority, investors and stuff like that. It's great for learning new things as well, and to sort of work with international clients and co-workers, and attend professional development courses and conferences and be optimistic about your career path as well. But negatively, we can overpromise on the things that we can commit to in terms of projects or deadlines. We can lack attention to detail and overlook important details, and this can lead to errors and oversights, and this can affect your professional reputation. So just make sure you double check and slow down. This energy can make us want to rush thing. We can be restless because we just want things to change now and do now, and this can lead to impulsive job hopping or idea pitching. And again, as I said, this cannot be a good thing. So just make sure you push yourself outside the comfort zone, but make sure you check if facts, and watch out for speaking too honestly, as you can offend colleagues or superiors right now. And because we can find it hard to focus, we can miss important deadlines as well, and find it hard to stick to our work responsibilities. So the best way to use this energy is to focus and be realistic about our long-term goals, be diplomatic and watch how we speak. Don't make others overstep your boundaries, but respect their boundaries as well. And there's ways of saying things. Being honest is good, be honest as well, but also try and word things in a more sort of like open-minded, diplomatic way, and channel your restlessness into productive change rather than making drastic career moves. Some of you may want to move to a different company, but some of you may get restless and think, I want a new company, but instead of thinking about how you can go for a different role in your current company as well. So just make sure the changes that you're making right now are realistic and good for you, rather than just getting carried away in the wanderlust of, Sagittarius. Balance enthusiasm with practicality, and this is how you win with this energy. So in terms of personal development, it allows us to be more intellectual, curious and open-minded and optimistic in our sort of outlook, and this can help us to grow more on the personal level and to consider alternative perspectives and ways of being in our own lives. You may have been sort of self-destructive before, and you may actually learn to get outside of your comfort zone and try new experiences, and set goals that are visionary, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and allow yourself to increase your communication skills, not only with others but yourself. It allows you to express your ideas and beliefs, but negatively you can overcommit to personal growth and self-improvement projects. So make sure you don't take on too many things at once. It's a day-to-day process. Some days you do better at personal change and understanding and making space for your emotional and psychological and spiritual trauma, working through them and learning to manage them, So, do it step by step to avoid burnout, and watch out for lack of focus as well. Taking on too much can make it difficult to concentrate on one area long enough to see significant results. So it's better to just focus on one thing if you can only manage that, than to try to build 5 new personal habits into your life and then fail at them all. So just watch out for being overconfident and impatient and neglecting the bigger details as well. And there may be a conflict between your long held beliefs. It's hard to change because we've been programmed with these beliefs. We come to believe that the things we believe in are true, and it can, even when you want to change, it can be hard to change. So just make sure that you give yourself the time and grace to change, and be gentle with yourself as you face the necessary conflict from your old beliefs to your new beliefs. So the best use of this energy is to channel your curiosity to structured learning experiences, practice mindfulness, to be more in the present moment, set ambitious but realistic personal development goals, breaking them down into manageable steps, and use increased communication skills to express your personal growth journey and seek support from others. Be open to adventure and try your new personal, spiritual, emotional, psychological development techniques and approaches, and remember to ground your optimism in practical action and consistent effort. So in terms of spiritual development, it allows us to explore new spiritual and philosophical concepts and metaphysical ideas and esoteric teachings. We can be drawn to these right now. It allows us to expand our consciousness and think outside of our normal realms, and it can give spiritual insights and a deeper understanding of our place in the universe. It allows us to be more accurate in our spiritual communication, and we can find it easier to discuss, to articulate our spiritual experiences and beliefs right now, and this can help us have deeper connections with ourselves and others. It allows us to work on developing our intuition as well, making us more receptive to spiritual guidance. It allows us to meditate and pray and be more enthusiastic about spiritual practices and changing techniques and stuff, and it just allows us to explore different spiritual traditions from different cultures, and looking at even our current religions and spirituality in a new way. But negatively, it can lead to spiritual materialism and the tendency to collect spiritual experiences or knowledge without truly integrating them into our life. We can become overconfident in spiritual matters. We never know it, or believe you and me, we can think ourselves more spiritually advanced than what we are, but there's always something to learn, as in with the normal things in life. There's always something to learn, so don't let your ego get in the way of your genuine spiritual growth. We can also fall into spiritual bypassing, so we can avoid or gloss over deeper emotional psychological issues in favor of more positive spiritual concepts. Like, oh, look, I have these crystals or tarots, as I said, we can find it hard to ground ourselves as well. So we have to just make ourselves that although it's great to explore the higher realms, we can struggle right now to stay grounded. So we just have to make sure, as I said, that we just try and go easy and don't rush straight in, because we can experience spiritual restlessness right now as we seek out these new spiritual experiences and teachings, and it can make it challenging for us to deepen our practice in any one tradition. And we can sort of kind of over intellectualize spiritual concepts now, rather than embodying them through our direct experience and actions and words. So to make the most of this energy, contemplate spiritual teachings and philosophical energy, but seek ways to apply them practically in your life. If you can't do that, you may not need that information. This is how you can tell whether you need that information, if you're ready for it. But yeah, even if you keep on trying to attempt to fix something in your life, don't give up on yourself, but don't overstimulate yourself as well. Allow yourself to speak with others about your spiritual beliefs, but remain open to learning from different viewpoints right now. Balance your exploration of new spiritual ideas with consistent practice. Use journaling or meditation to integrate the insights you receive during this transit, and practice dissemination in your spiritual pursuits, and make sure you just practice good judgment, discernment in your spiritual kind of plans right now, and make sure that your research and spiritual seeking and explorations are genuinely serving your growth. And just remember to stay grounded in mindfulness, and making sure you're working with your shadow, doing the shadow work and inner work to avoid spiritual bypassing. So in terms of educational development, it can make us more intellectually curious, giving us a desire for knowledge and new subjects, and wanting to go after advanced studies, learning things on a deeper level. It allows us to be more open to different learning methods and ideas and stuff, and have more of enthusiasm for learning, and maybe feeling sort of drawn to connect with international educational programs, applying for a course abroad, or doing a course online from a different sort of institution than the one that's in your own country. Allows you to have big picture thinking and to research new ideas and have innovative insights, and it allows you to improve your communication skills and find it easier to express complex ideas and sort of take part in academic discussions and present your work to others. But negatively, it can, we can just find it hard to focus right now as well, and having the energy to partake, study and research for long hours and stuff. So make sure you break things down into small steps and watch out for overcommitting, taking on too many courses or trying to do too many educational projects at once, and this can lead to burnout or just surface superficial learning. You can be impatient with the theory and skip over basic concepts, something I was guilty of, even as training as an astrologer. Make sure you know the basics and the bigger details of filling themselves, but if you don't know the basics, then so make sure that the advanced topics, going into aspects is a lot more juicier than learning the modalities, that Cancer is a cardinal sign and Gemini is a mutable sign and stuff, but we need these fundamentals to be able to interpret and provide the best guidance, so we can apply this, what I just said, to any field of knowledge, that we have to make sure we know the basics as well as the bigger details. You just need to watch out for being overconfident, and you may have a resistance to structure and routine right now and following instructions, and this can lead to conflicts with teachers and just conflicts within yourself as well. You can have difficulties with details right now, and you may overlook important details in your research and studies, so just make sure you slow down. And even if someone else is learning quicker than you, this doesn't mean that you're less than them. They're more advanced. We just all learn in different ways. So maybe mind mapping, some of us are more visual, some of us are more auditory learners, falling asleep, recording yourself, talking about the concepts you're trying to learn and falling asleep with them, in your earbuds or whatever, can be really good for you. It's a good energy to channel your curiosity into, routine, and use your increased communication skills to, have group study debates and that, and you make sure you balance your need to explore new things with making sure you put in the effort in learning the basic concepts and, consistent effort in your core areas of study as well, and be open to opportunities for new experimental learning, maybe internships and trips and hands-on projects, and make sure you practice time management so you can follow through on your educational commitments. And as I said, use different techniques, find the right techniques for you to, sort of like work with and engage with the knowledge, So in terms of self-partner development, it's a good energy to, increase your optimistic self-talk and to think about, who you are beyond, what other people have told you to be and who you think you are, and break free from self-imposed limitations and just be curious about yourself, It allows us to be motivated to explore different aspects of our personality, beliefs and desires, and embrace our strengths and weaknesses and turn our weaknesses into strengths. It's a good energy for intellectual self-growth. It inspires us to increase our sense of self and our personal abilities and stuff. It allows us to sort of try new forms of expressing ourselves as well, which can lead to a more authentic representation of who we are. And it just allows us to gain deeper self-understanding and reflect on our life purpose and our day-to-day habits, thinking about our personal values and beliefs and seeing if, our daily activities are aligning with our life goals and purpose. But negatively, it can make us overcommit, restless, neglect our practical self-care as well. So make sure, you love on yourself and give yourself some self-care. We can become overconfident as well and have a difficulty with self-discipline, and this can lead to impatience with ourselves as well. So we just need to be gentle with ourselves and recognise the value of short and steady progress and picking yourself up after every failure, because there's many failures that we need to have in anything great to gain our success, we've got to keep on going. So to make the use of this energy, maybe journal, reflect on your life direction, goals, ground yourself in reality, learn some new communication skills or use your communication skills to express yourself more, practice self-compassion, and alongside optimism, and recognize that growth is a journey with ups and downs, and the many failures are a journey to the success, and never to give up on yourself. And maybe create a personal mission statement or affirmation or vision board. And remember, these things only work if we take daily actions to bring the reality in our vision boards and affirmations into reality, right? So yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to finish up with talking about the best things for creatives, professionals, entrepreneurs, alternative healers, lovers, singles and self-partnered to do when Mercury's in Sagittarius. So creatives, brainstorm big, bold ideas, explore unconventional creative and artistic techniques, work with other creatives from different cultures or disciplines. Professionals should attend industry conferences or workshops to expand their knowledge, pitch innovative ideas or strategies to superiors or clients. Entrepreneurs who explore international markets or partnerships for business expansion and develop a visionary long-term plan for your company. Alternative healers who study healing practices from different cultures or traditions, host workshops, combine multiple healing techniques, and just do your best to be open-minded and to heal yourself and focus on your own self-care as well as your clients. Lovers should plan adventurous trips or try new experiences together, engage in deeper conversations about your relationship and future. Single people should try dating outside of their usual type or cultural background, attend social events centered around learning or personal growth, and self-partnered people should do solo travel or spiritual retreat, even if you just make your own one in your own bedroom or home, something personal to you. Maybe start a blog or vlog or podcast or anything else that allows you to share your insights and experiences. So yeah, all in all, when Mercury's transiting in Sagittarius, the magic is in finding balance, not by suppressing your emotions or your need for adventure, but strategically integrating your need for optimism and thinking outside of the box and trying new things, So plan short escapes, try new hobbies during your downtime, but maintain your core commitments, make sure you meet the needs of your routines, pick the children up from school, and your mission is to be open to curiosity, but keep one foot anchored in reality and transform potential distractions into growth opportunities. And you may make a mistake one day, you may forget your routine for 1 week, you may forget this new routine you're trying, but the next week you can try it, keep on getting back up after each fall. So yeah, that's the end of this very in-depth analysis on transiting Mercury in Sagittarius and everything to do. Take care. I'm Amani, your holistic karmic astrological life coach.